What's going on, cold rollers? This is Po Boy coming at you. Hey guys, today we're going to be working on Ugly Betty and we're going to start doing some fiberglass stuff. So here we go. Alright, cold rollers, so we're over here with Ugly Betty and I wanted to show you guys, as you remember from the previous video, we had put some epoxy resin, the 2-part epoxy resin, and everything here is real nice and smooth. And as you can see over here, I don't know if you'll be able to tell on the camera, but everything that has been epoxied looks like wet, almost as if it were wet. So it ends up kind of being like a clear coat. And the reason for doing that is that since we have body filler and we have joint compound, when we start doing the fiberglassing, we need to put some gel coat, tooling gel coat, and that gets really hot. So you don't want it to go into and blend with the body fillers. So that way, when you pull out the mold, it comes along with it. So you want to make sure you kind of seal it before. Everything is nice and sealed. I also cleared with that stuff all the areas that I had sanded that the metal is exposed, so that way it wouldn't rust there either. Everything is nice and smooth. See the cowl there? It's completely sealed, just like that. Yep. And these were the brackets we did, as you guys remember. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and straighten out all these little fins that we cut out. All the fins, we're going to straighten them out as much as we can. And then we're going to use some red pottery clay. Now the reason for pottery clay is the fact that that stuff dries up and it won't allow for the, for the fiberglass or the resin to go in between the metal here and then get stuck to the point where you can't remove the piece itself. So we're gonna basically just seal this area here with that red clay, as well as over the top area of these cuts, so that way it doesn't get stuck in there either. We'll begin putting down some wax, some mold release wax, and if everything works out, depending how fast everything goes and dries, we might even put some gel coat tonight. So let's get right to it. Alright guys, so we're gonna get started here as I told you, and we're gonna start off by bending those little flaps of the metal bracket, these right here. I'm gonna start straightening them up as much as possible, so that way they are as even as we could get it. That way when we make the mold, you get a pretty straight edge, instead of being all jagged like that. So I'm gonna give you a little view of it, so that way you guys know how to do it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but basically I use some pliers and I just try to maneuver them a little bit like that, move them up to get them as straight as possible. That way when we put the clay, it also helps seal it in the grooves, in the little cuts themselves. We'll put some clay all over this here, like that. So that's basically what we'll be doing. I'm gonna be putting you on a time lapse, so that way you don't get bored seeing me do this. Alright guys, so we straightened out all the fins around here, making sure it's all nice and level, as you can see. And I did the bottom bracket as well. So now we're going to be using some of this red clay that I was telling you guys about. This is basically pottery clay. And where we're gonna put that, it's gonna be right here on the seam all over. That way, you know, the resin doesn't get in there and then it gets stuck and you can't pull out the part itself. So we're gonna do that. And we're also gonna be putting some of that clay in between the areas like this, all the little slits. So that way the same thing, the resin doesn't cling on to that area there. So we'll go ahead and get started on that, and yeah, we'll continue there. See you in a bit. Alright, co-rollers, so as you guys were able to see, we went ahead and straightened out the brackets, and we just sealed everything in with the clay. I'm going to give you a little view here so you know what to do when you're doing it. Just that little edge on the inside, and of course in between the fins also. Same thing up here, as you can see. It's already starting to dry up here because it was the first one I put in. But yeah, now it's time to do some waxing, and then we're going to put some PVA. I'll explain that in a second. This here that I have is actually a mold release wax. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply that wax all over the area that we're going to be working on, and we're going to leave it on there. A lot of people say that you should wax it, take it off, do another wax coat, take it off. It doesn't matter, because that film you leave is going to melt with once you apply the gel coat. So we've seen better results by just leaving the wax on it. And then we're going to take an extra step, which is the PVA. Let me walk you over here. Alright, okay, so this is the PVA. This one is green or blue, one of them two, I can't really tell. But yeah, it's another mold release agent. And yeah, they recommend you to spray it, but we're doing it on a budget. And we're not only going to do that with a brush, but we're also going to do the gel coat with a brush. So let's continue with the progress and see where we can get. Alright, co-rollers, so we are losing daylight real quick, but we went ahead and put the wax as well as the PVA. Now the PVA, basically what it does is once it dries, it becomes like a plastic film. Let's call it sort of like a saran wrap. And what that does is avoid the parts that you're making or the mold from sticking for whenever it's time to pull the mold out or the part. It eases the release of it. Now, even though the daylight is starting to go, I'm gonna go ahead and start applying some of that gel coat. We're gonna have to leave that set overnight. Let's jump right into it because that daylight is starting to go. that's what I call bright orange. Look at that. Anyway, you guys, this is the first part of it. Then let's see, maybe tomorrow I could lay some fiberglass down here and possibly add it to this video. All right, co-rollers, so this is 3 days later. We had a little bit of rain, so I didn't work on the truck, but as you guys saw on the clips before, we were able to put that gel coat, and let me show you here real quick. As you can see, the gel coat is looking really nice. Everything is dried up nicely. I do want to go over a couple materials that we'll be using and a couple hints and tricks for this process. So over here you will see this foam. It's basically kind of like one of those pool noodles, but it's meant for piping as an insulator. So it's insulation for piping, really. And what I do is I buy it. It comes like that as a tube, and I cut them in half. Why I do that? Well, basically what we do with this is we're going to use that as a reinforcement for the fiberglass pieces as well as for the mold itself. And another thing I wanted to let you guys know is that when you're doing fiberglass, it is very, very important that you guys take the extra time and pre-cut all the fiberglass mat that you're going to be using for each specific piece. That'll make it a whole lot easier for when it's time to apply the resin and the mat. It just, you know, goes right on, and you don't have to be cutting, and then the resin dries up on you. So that's one really, really helpful idea. As you can see here, this one is labeled the grill, which is the part we're going to be doing today. Right here, I'm going to be laying some fiberglass down to make that mold that everybody's been waiting for. So, and another thing you want to do is fiberglass doesn't like 90-degree angles. So what we're going to do here, as you guys can see, this whole area here where the flange is, there's a 90-degree angle here, as well as down here in the bottom. So what we're going to do there is we're going to take some body filler, and we're going to mix it with a little bit of resin just to soften it up a little bit, and we're going to apply a small amount on this edge here, so that way it has a curve to it instead of being a straight 90-degree, and that's going to help the fiberglass adhere a whole lot better. Let's get right to it. So we went ahead and put some of that Bondo on those edges to help it out. However, I did run out of Bondo. I didn't have enough, but we got as much as we could on there, so that'll help do those little edges. One thing that I want to make sure that I tell you guys, and call me a safety freak, but you want to make sure you have gloves as well as long sleeves. Try to use ugly clothes that you have, stuff you use for painting around the house, or, you know, mudding, or whatever it is in your case, because we're going to be dealing with polyester resin. polyester resin itself is, you know, quite sticky, and it does contain the hardener. The hardener is called MEKP, but this stuff is poison. I mean, you got to be very careful with this. You don't want to really take contact on your skin with this stuff, because it will be absorbed by the skin and cause, you know, some problems to your health. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and prepare that up so that we could continue into laying some fiberglass right now. And another thing, the respirators, very important. You need to have a respirator or a mask. Make sure you get a quality one. This is a 3M one, and it has a particulate filter as well as a chemical filter. So this will help with the fumes, which are really strong when it comes to resin, and it will also help with the particulates of the fiberglass fibers. They're little tiny little pieces that they float in the air real easy, and you could inhale that, and that'll cause a lot of problems in your lungs. They say that fiberglass as well as carbon fiber, when it's in particulate form and you breathe it in, can cause almost worse problems than asbestos. So be careful with that, and let's jump right into this so we can mix it up. We're going to be using polyester resin, unwaxed, and we're going to add to whatever amount we use here, we're going to add 1% of the MEKP. So let's jump right to that, and we'll continue on with the fiberglass. Alright guys, so we were able to do the first part of the mold, as you guys saw in the video, and you know, now we're gonna have to let it cure. It is starting to sprinkle, so I hope we don't lose this one. You can see there, get everything fiberglassed up. So now we gotta wait for that to cure and dry. And then what we'll do is we'll take these extra areas here and we'll clean them out, so that way we have a nice edge, and from there we'll continue on working for the next part of the mold making. I'll see you in a bit inside. Bye. Alright, co-rollers, so we're back inside, finally all cleaned up, feeling fresh. As you guys were able to see, we did the first part of the mold. And that was an interesting part. You know, I had a lot of fun. It's been ages since I've worked with fiberglass, and you could say the boring part of making the die itself is over with when it comes to, you know, the front clip. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun and I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are too, and you're, you know, at least learning from it. Maybe you guys might want to take that project on yourself and do a little something for your trucks or car. Don't matter, either one. And I'm hoping that progress continues the way it is. Hopefully the rain today doesn't really affect it, obviously. But if it does, you know what? We're not gonna give up. You guys know I'm a very positive person and I'm always thinking positively. So
If something happens, you know what? Dust yourself off, try again. Don't give up. I do want to send out a special hello to a couple people who are very avid watchers of Po Boys Diesel, and I have a little list here because I don't want to mess up their names. And let's see here, we have Richie. He's a father of 4, and they live over in Desert Hot Springs, California. He has a kid who is 12 years old. His name is Ricky. Hi, Ricky. We also have Nick, who just turned 10. So happy birthday to you, Nick. And he also has Theo. Theo is 7 years old. And also he has Chris, who is 6 years old. This family actually has 2 diesel vehicles. They have a 7.3 Excursion, which is looking mighty fine. I saw some pictures. And he also has a 6.5 Chevy Suburban. That's what I call a real cool roller family. Wouldn't you say so? But anyway, guys, you know how it goes. Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys check out everything on the description, and follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. You know, we're always up in there putting up live updates and stuff like that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being you. God bless you. We love you, and let the coal roll.